What's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I'm sitting here waiting for food as always. It's the theme here. Okay with that. Food isn't quite ready. Workout is done, so it is time lapsing here. And so, let's just chat about what we're hearing about in regards to the Lakers. Now, honestly, all I know is the headline. I haven't quite clicked on anything. Unfortunately, I've been kind of just looking at other types of coverage. But, yeah, the Los Angeles Lakers have made a good decision. I think it is a good decision. Decision on Russell Westbrook. They're going to start the season with him. It is expected. Many executives, basically teams, are saying, "Yo, the Lakers are saying no to just about every deal we're doing." That's essentially what they're saying. But executives are rumoring to have said that the Lakers are expected to have already made a decision, and Russell Westbrook will start the season with the team. So that's what I supported. You guys know that. I came around to understanding the fruit of doing so is ultimately raising his trade value and ultimately allowing us to open up an opportunity for a more favorable trade package to take place. Things happen in the NBA. You can move around a lot when you can see players run and actually put a price tag on them. So that's what we've been saying pretty much on this channel all summer long. I've gone through the ebbs and flows in terms of my opinion about starting the season with Russell Westbrook. A lot of it changed with the understanding that the market was locked up, and then it became a situation where, okay, what can we do? The answer was nothing, and then it became a situation where we were wondering what our team was going to look like, and then we were able to get the Patrick Beverley deal done. So now we're like, okay, obviously that was great. Of course, I missed the most important part, which was Bron signing the extension, giving us the leverage to now not feel we need to make a bad deal just because the clock was against us. He allowed us this, and I think it's been understood that the Lakers are now committed to trading the 2 picks. We have no problem with relinquishing those for the right opportunity to improve this year's roster, and will do so. But at this time, we don't see a deal that makes any sense, and so it makes more sense to start the season with Russell Westbrook and those 2 picks. Now, the reason why I coupled Russell Westbrook and the 2 picks is because ultimately he is the trade package that we are going to be looking to move throughout the season up until the trade deadline. We understand that at any given moment, a trade can be made and he can be gone, because ultimately that is the goal. It isn't going to matter how well he's playing, and that's very unfortunate, because if he comes out balling out the gate, it's going to be a lot of people who are going to want to see him stay. Or even worse, if he comes out stinking up the joint, it may be more difficult to trade him. But at the end of the day, this is the plan. Be patient, stay committed to what it is that you're going to do, and try to find a discount on what will improve this team to the maximum amount and get us to a position where we can at least compete for a championship. We feel like we can do that if we get the right pieces for what it is that we have. But if we mortgage all of this for pieces that may help us, but ultimately make us more less flexible, then ultimately I find it makes no sense to try to improve the team to that degree if it's going to make it so that we're going to be not good enough the following season. Now, that's not necessarily what we're projecting at all, but at the same time, there are a lot of things you can do to murk up a very, very good situation that you're trying to create for yourself cap-wise. Bringing in Bogdanovich at 19 may not necessarily hurt you in theory, because obviously it's a 1-year expiring deal. But if you're bringing in a Conley at 11 mil per year, or maybe Clarkson at 8 for 2 years, maybe, I don't know exactly what Clarkson's getting. I think it's 8 for 2 years, something like that. But, maybe you feel good about bringing in Clarkson because he's a more I'd say a more productive player than what you would expect those two to be for you at those prices. But I think Jordan Clarkson has better suitors around the league. I think teams would probably be willing to pay more for him than the Lakers probably would. So I think getting him is a long shot unless we're willing to take some of those other contracts that we don't want to take. Conley's a contract that they're going to have a hard time getting rid of unless they attach a pick or two. Not two, but a pick, in my opinion. And Utah's not in the business of relinquishing picks, so that's going to get interesting to see if they start the team with start the season with Mike Conley, or continue to try to field opportunities to trade him. And if they don't get a trade for him, what options do they have? Will they stretch his contract? Is it that serious given the fact that it's a 2-year deal? And he's still an active player. So I don't think so. But I do think that the Utah Jazz are going to have to understand that Mike Conley's contract is not worth anything. And even the Lakers don't want it, truthfully. So I'm just being real as possible. That's just what it is. So as we move forward, we look at the Lakers starting the season with Russell Westbrook, and you feel relatively confident that you can maneuver the roster well enough to where if he struggles, he won't be a problem. That was an issue we had last year in the style of play. I didn't trust coaching myself personally. All of it just didn't allow for Russell Westbrook to otherwise not be relied upon. And then you couple that with the THT issue, for which it was almost like having two Russell Westbrooks at times. So, we just had a lot working against us. None of that is in place this year. Russell Westbrook can either, kind of get back to doing certain things the way he used to do them, in terms of having centers around and stuff like that, to pass the ball to and ultimately get easy buckets to, and to kind of rebound his misses more so and things of that nature. And of course, the presence of Anthony Davis in place, healthy, in better shape, I think is going to make all the difference, because a lot of what we do should be, ran through him. And so I'm curious to see, what Anthony Davis we get, and judging from what I've seen, I'm excited, honestly. I really am. So hopefully we can do a good job of just managing his minutes and not relying upon him so much. And then, of course, guys like Thomas Bryant, Kendrick Nunn, who are coming back from injury, we got to make sure that we don't rely upon them too much early on just because they feel good. Setbacks with injuries like that can easily take place. So I would try to ease them in with their conditioning. And then from there, as the season progresses, if they start feeling better, work them into the equation even more. But I don't want us to lean on Nunn and Bryant too soon. That's a mistake. I don't care how healthy they are. It's a mistake. They haven't played ball in a long time. So ease them in, I would say. So that's one of those situations where, we do have the depth to make up for that. If for some reason those players are kind of slow coming back from what it is they're fighting back from injury-wise. But if they, for some reason are great out the gate, then that just makes it so that we have a strong bench unit one way or another. I don't know what they'll consider doing in regards to Thomas Bryant starting, or what player fits best next to AD. In my mind, it probably is TB right now because of his shooting ability. But then again, I look at other players like Juan Toscano-Anderson, who's been a part of that Golden State system, and I say, he could probably play his way up. I know what his skill set is, and he's itching to show people what he can do. I would not be surprised if he turns into a player who's really, really productive for us if we give him the minutes. Him next to Anthony Davis is curious to me, particularly when we want Anthony Davis to play the 5. Maybe not even necessarily need him to play the 5, but with Juan Toscano-Anderson on the floor, it doesn't matter because Juan can do some of those things that you need AD to do so that AD won't have to. Same thing with Damian Jones. I really like Damian Jones' ability to play above the rim too, so I'd like to see him on the floor with playmakers like Bron, with playmakers like Russell Westbrook, and of course Austin Reeves. I'm excited to see Russell Westbrook with Thomas Bryant, because I know they've played together in Washington. So that's something that's very curious to me as well. How will they, that synergy that they've already had when really everything looked great in Washington with Russell Westbrook, can we recycle some of that synergy? I think I'm just now realizing that what I was asking Rob to do earlier in the season, which was bring someone to Russell Westbrook that would be familiar at the center position, I just now realized he did that very thing. So shout out to Rob Pelinka for doing what it is that I asked him to do. I didn't realize until this very second. But I've been asking, of course, you guys follow me, for him to get Steven Adams, because Steven Adams was a player at the center position that Russell Westbrook could always get, the ball to and rely upon in the paint, and just someone that was really, really, really good with Russell Westbrook. Now, I don't know how much time they played together because TB was working back from injury. But what I do know is they spent time together that year, and that tells me that synergy is present. At the center spot was the key to it all for me, and the fact that he went and got Thomas Bryant shows me that is aligned with what it is that I think is best for us to help him be better this season. So yeah, him and Thomas Bryant, I'd imagine we're going to see a lot of them together, um, and I'm excited to see what that looks like early on. So there are things about this roster that I'm very very curious about, and the fact that you have LeBron James in the middle of it tells me that we can damage some teams really really badly. Now we do have a tough couple of games to start the season, but uh, we can get some wins here, man. We really can. I think our team is deep. Obviously, we're going to be starting with a new style of play, a new offense, and things of that nature. So it's going to take some couple weeks, maybe even a couple months, for us to start really showing what we can do. But ultimately, I'm excited about how these pieces fit together, particularly with the addition of Patrick Beverly. You put him down there, now you know he's going to put a certain fire in the back of players that may not necessarily have had that last year, particularly Anthony Davis, somebody who's going to say, hey, look, AD, let's keep this thing going defensively. You don't have to worry about no breakdowns because I'm in the same mindset you are on the perimeter and as you are in the paint, and we're just going to hold it down and make sure that everybody else is on the string. Guys like Austin Reeves, he excels in those circumstances. He's very, very intelligent. So I'm not worried about him picking up right where those guys lead. And from there, I think our team is going to be much better defensively than we're expecting to be. In fact, I expect us to be a top half defensive team in the league, top 15. We're going to be there. Like I said, it's going to take some time, but with the pieces that we have naturally, we're going to shut some people down. People are going to think they can come in here and score 120, 130 points, not with Anthony Davis and, of course, Patrick Beverly on the squad. That's not happening. I'm telling you right now, this is a very, very serious duo defensively. Very serious. And we're going to see that this year. I understand that, Patrick Beverly's had some injury issues, so I don't think we should be relying upon him to play a lot of games. And that's very important that we say that. I'm hoping he can outdo that and shake that off, but I honestly don't expect him to play more than 45 to 50 games. But in them 50 games, we're going to be very good defensively so long as Anthony Davis is down there in good shape. And that's key. As long as he continues to keep his conditioning, stay healthy, hopefully no setbacks with any type of injuries whatsoever, and just keep doing what it is he's been doing all offseason. I'm expecting this team to be pretty good. Now, how far we go into the standings, we're still hovering around the play-in tournament. If we hold on to this roster throughout the season, for some reason we can't get a deal done to get Westbrook gone, I don't know that we can get any higher than a 10th seed or a 9th seed. Just off the sheer field, it's going to be tough as heck for us to make the playoffs. But with those two picks in hand, and with everybody relatively healthy, if we can make a move that looks better than any of these deals that's been on the table for us with Indy and Utah, if we can make a move that makes us better, we can vault ourselves into a very, very good position because the pieces that we have will then fit, I believe, with the deal that we're trying to make at that point. And you guys know who I know that player is going to be. Now, the question is if it actually comes into fruition, a lot of things have to fall into place, including good health and all of that. But I still believe that the player that the Lakers are going to try to get is Kyrie Irving with those two picks in Russell Westbrook's contract. Now, where that contract goes, my mindset says Utah, San Antonio, or Indy. It's one of those three places I'd imagine is going to be involved in the deal. That's just how I see that playing out. Because at the end of the day, Kai still has his eyes on this team. If things don't work out in Brooklyn, those are the only two places I believe he'd be willing to play right now. Now, if things change, things could always change. But I think he sees this as the best fit for him if he takes Russell Westbrook's position. Simple as that. Slot him in, take Westbrook out, and I do believe we're a team that can compete with anyone. And I mean anyone. With the top level of his talent. Now, I do want Rob to continue to look for deals that add to that. Because if we can keep one of those picks out of that deal and then proceed to add that pick to a different deal, or maybe add that pick to get more than what we were expecting rather than just to make two picks for Kai and Westbrook, that will be a key. And that's why we're starting the season with Russell Westbrook, in my opinion, because we want him to raise his trade value from the dumps from which it was to a place where we can say, no, we're not offering his $47 million contract for two picks for Kyrie Irving. We would much rather take on something that we otherwise appreciate better than the deals that were on the table during the lock market. You know what I mean? So Westbrook's contract goes up. Kyrie's contract decreases in value, as we talked about, because at the end of the day, it's a one-year deal. And so the more games he plays on it, the less you're going to be able to trade for it, in my humble opinion. Um, it shouldn't cost as much because it's games coming off of it. So that's important. And at the end of the day, as we always say, they have to pay him. So we'll see if they do that. You know, I really think the time to do that is sooner than later, because you already know who you are. So we've talked about this a million times. If you're the Brooklyn Nets, if you want to keep the team together, then you make a decision on that to keep it from being a distraction to your team. Because at the end of the day, everybody knows if it's a one-year deal, it's a chance that you're going to shop it. And that's a headache. That's an absolute headache, especially when you know for a fact that he's probably going to want to go to one place. So that being the LA Lakers, I am going to say that the Los Angeles Lakers are holding the picks and Russell Westbrook starting the season because they want to make that particular trade. I've been saying that. I think that because I know that's what Ron wants. See, it would be more of a broad range of options in my mind if it wasn't for the presence of LeBron James, knowing for a fact that he can win a championship with Kyrie Irving. He wants Kyrie, in my opinion, more so than even I do, I think, honestly, because I think he knows that skill set fits his skill set probably as well as anyone who ever has. It's probably the best co-star for him. You know what I mean? In terms of the style that Kyrie attacks the game with. So, you know, that is pretty much what I think Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss and everybody are considering. I don't know that everybody's on the same page about that. I'd imagine they're not. But this is what not trading for him now is about. It gives us an opportunity to see Kyrie, too, from afar before trading for him. Is he going to be up to playing, you know, is he going to be consistent? Is he going to be healthy? All the other stuff, the questions. It gives us a chance to see him start the season, conditioning, all of it as well. That's also an angle I think the Lakers are doing. They don't want to necessarily trade for him before they know what to expect from him this season. So I think that's playing a part of it. But all in all, it's the price tag more importantly than anything else. We believe we can get a better price tag for Kyrie Irving or any other deal that, for that matter, for our two picks. If, for in fact, an opportunity to just wait a minute, just don't, you know what I mean? You gotta just be patient. And so that's what I'm singing. That's what I think the Lakers are doing. I'm happy with what I'm seeing. And I just want the Lakers to start the season at this point. I'm on board. Russell Westbrook, let's go. Let's go. We know we're not going to end the season with you, but let's put on the uniform and try to do the great opposite of what it is that we saw last year. Mistakes will happen. Turnovers are a part of your game. But what we don't expect is for you to have as much confusion down there. You know what I mean? You should be more acclimated into a better system that should be meant for you to attack. And that's up to Darvin Ham to put you in those positions to succeed. So at that point, I think we can then make moves. But until that point, it's just going to be about whether or not he can deliver for us and raise his trade value up to a point where he can be an asset for the team that he's going to. And see, that's another thing. Yes, are we trading him to a team that is expecting to not be very good, right? Yes, 100%. Is there a world where he plays his value up so high that the Lakers feel forced to trade him and now a contender would actually want him? I can see that because he's Russell Westbrook and this is a guy who's won an MVP in this league. That's not crazy to me. That's not. Now, I expect him to play poorly. I expect him to come out and do all the stuff that I saw last year, unfortunately. Until I see him not do that, that's what I'm expecting to see. But I've also seen what he can do when he's at his best, and ain't nobody else like him ever in the history of the sport. So maybe there's a world where you could play his value up to that degree. If the Lakers get off to a crazy winning streak, that is possible. And I'm telling you, if he plays himself up to that degree, I don't think the Lakers are going to want to re-sign him anyway. That's what I'm telling you. I think they're going to want to sell high on Russell Westbrook. I think that makes all the sense in the world. And so that's what I expect the Lakers to do. So even if he's all-world MVP, we're going to go get a great haul for him. You understand what I'm saying? So this is a win-win-win-win-win so long as he doesn't go down, 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 down. And that is all about managing him and him just continuing to be himself, because he's one of the most durable players in the league. So, I mean, we're hoping for good luck in that regard, but there is a risk to that, and we will not neglect to speak on that. Once you send him out there, everything goes to crap if he does go down. So please be balanced in mind in regards to that risk, Laker Nation. That's what I got to say, man. It's time to eat. Hopefully I didn't burn my food. That's why I'm still holding this in hand, because it's time to get that out. My name is BDL44. Thank you all for watching.